In this video, I'm going to explore the best thumb splints that I've found for thumb base osteoarthritis. I'm not going to discuss the condition itself, as I've covered that in some detail in this video, which you can also find in the description below. There you can learn all about thumb arthritis, including all of the other evidence-based treatments available for it. But in this video, we're just going to concentrate on thumb splints themselves and take an in-depth look at the best ones that I've found over my 27 years as a UK-based physiotherapist. So welcome to the channel. I'm Stephen Bunting. Okay, so let's start by explaining exactly what we're trying to achieve with a thumb splint. Well, the purpose of a splint is to support the arthritic joint while still allowing some movement and hand function. Some splints will provide minimal support and therefore still allow a lot of movement, and others will provide lots of support but not allow much movement at all. And what works best for you will be the splint that provides just enough support to help reduce your pain, but still allowing enough thumb movement so you can use your hand for all the things that you need to do. For example, if your hand was in a full cast, then no thumb movement occurs and therefore you have no pain, but you can't use your hand, so that's no good. At the other end of the spectrum, a piece of simple tuber grip will provide hardly any support, but will allow almost full thumb movement. So it's a trade-off, and what works best for you will depend on your symptoms and the activities that you need to be able to do whilst wearing the splint. So in my experience, something like this is a good starting point, as it provides a good amount of support while still allowing a good range of thumb movement. These can be found usually for around £10 to £15 or $15 to $20, and I'll put links to this and all the other splints I'm going to discuss in the description below. So this one is made of fabric, but it has a supportive bar that runs along the length of the thumb just here. It goes on like this and is secured with a Velcro strap around the wrist and another one around the thumb tip. As you can see, the splint allows a decent amount of movement at the end joint of the thumb and also the wrist, but it does restrict the thumb base joints, which is the main point of it. This one comes in small, medium, large and extra large sizes depending on your wrist circumference. For reference, this one is a medium size and my wrist circumference is 18 centimeters. Overall, it's an inexpensive but effective splint for most arthritic thumbs. But if your arthritis is more severe or you need a splint with more support, then the next one I can recommend will do just that, but it will restrict your thumb movement a bit more than this last one. So this one is again made mainly of fabric, but it has a plastic wedge that separates the thumb from the index finger. It goes on like this and again is secured with a wrist strap and a thumb tip strap. It's a bit more compact than the last one, and it's also more hard wearing. This particular one comes in two sizes, size 1 for wrists of 13 to 17 centimeters circumference and a size 2 of wrists between 17 and 23 centimeters. This one is a size 2. They retail for about £25 or about $30. And you can still move your thumb tip to fingertip fairly reasonably with this one, but it is more restricted than the last because it does provide that bit more support. The next splint that I can recommend is probably the best splint that you can currently buy as an off-the-shelf thumb splint, but it is quite a bit more expensive than the others. It's also super sleek and compact. It was developed by hand therapists and I think it offers the best overall compromise of support and function. It retails for around £50 or $65, but if you want the best available splint that I've seen over the years, then this is it. It goes on like this, and as you can see, it has a firm plastic piece that neatly surrounds the whole thumb base region. It secures with these two wrist straps. Three sizes are available depending on your hand span measurement. This one is the largest size, which is 22.5 to 26 centimeters, as my handspan is 23 centimeters. As you can see, it's quite compact. It doesn't interfere with wrist movement at all. It supports the thumb base joints very well, while still allowing a good overall range of hand movement. Now, with all these splints, their biggest problem is that they are all off the shelf. So if your thumb isn't the typical shape, then they might not fit you comfortably and they might cause some pressure. This can particularly happen if your arthritis is late stage and you've developed a degree of thumb base squaring like this. In this case, the angled edge of the thumb can rub up against the splint and become uncomfortable. So if this is you and you just can't find a splint to fit, then I would consider my last recommendation, which is a bespoke, custom-made splint that's moulded to the individual shape of your thumb. These are usually made of thermoplastic, which becomes malleable in hot water, so it can be moulded, but when it cools it hardens and then retains its shape. For this, you're going to need to see a hand therapist, who are usually occupational therapists, physiotherapists or physical therapists who have specialised in hand therapy. Some orthotists will also provide this service. Whichever splint you choose, when you first start wearing it, you should try to use it for most of the time, even at night if the pain is keeping you awake. The idea is to give your thumb as much rest as practically possible and allow it to calm right down. About 6 weeks of maximum use is usually needed. Take it off when washing your hands and doing some gentle exercises to prevent stiffness, but otherwise leave it on for the rest of the time. After about 6 weeks, if it's working well, then your thumb pain should have improved and you can now start slowly weaning off the splint over a few weeks. During this time, one of two things will happen. One, you might be lucky and the thumb pain might settle right down, and as long as you can avoid the strenuous activities that aggravated it in the first place, it might stay pain-free. Or two, your thumb pain might start returning as soon as you start reducing the splint use. If that happens to you, then you might need to continue using splints for the long term, but use it just as much as you need to in order to keep the symptoms at bay. And you will have discovered the right amount of time for you during that weaning process. And if you do need to wear a splint for the long term, then I would suggest one of the more durable ones that we talked about earlier, or perhaps the bespoke moulded one, as the cheaper fabric ones will tend to wear out quickly and overall it becomes false economy to keep replacing them. Okay, well that's about it. Links to all of the splints I've talked about can be found in the description, and while you're there, do check out my in-depth video to learn much more about this really common condition. I do hope you found the video helpful. Thanks very much for watching, and bye for now.